Welcome to Boys in the Burgh, the podcast all about Pittsburgh and these boys right here. And you guys said you talk too much about Westmoreland County. So we're coming back at you with more Westmoreland County.
Did they actually say that?
No one said that.
Okay. I was like, whoa, hold on now.
Yeah, my name's Chris Speranza.
I'm JJ. And Chris, what are we talking about today?
So I'm going to bring up something that you probably didn't remember from the past. There's a little song that goes, boo, 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 Big Mac, boo, 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 Big Mac.
Do I remember that? Of course I do.
The only thing I remember from the Big Mac rap is no seeds on the bun.
There's a movie called Super Size Me where I forget, Morgan Spurlock is the guy's name who did the documentary, and he's going around Washington D.C. asking people to sing the national or the Pledge of Allegiance, and no one can get it right. But then he brought up the Big Mac song, and they all said it super quick right off the top of their head, and they're like, "We know the Big Mac song better than the Pledge of Allegiance," and this was in 2001. Come on now.
They were just like, 9/11 what?
Big Mac's where it's at.
But yeah, this episode is about the very famous McDonald's restaurant that is located in North Huntingdon, Pennsylvania, known as the Big Mac Museum. And I visit there a good amount of times. So I definitely have my opinions about it. And I'm sure we have a little history lesson and everything like that. But before we get started, you should be able to look at more stuff on our socials, on Facebook, on Instagram, on Threads. You can find us on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram Reels. I just finally noticed that we have so many listens now and so many video watches, but why isn't our subscription up? People, just use that thumb to press that subscribe button. And I promise you, no one's emailed me yet. I will get someone the Jasmine. I still have the card in front of me. The Jasmine Dragon Tea Shop card. So whoever follows us and sends us an email to boysintheburgh@gmail.com, I will give you that card. But that's just me. Did I hit everything, JJ? Oh, yeah. Our TeePublic store where you can get really cool hat like this. A redesign of one of our logos is about to come out because the Pittsburgh Steelers did not like that. So we have a new logo.
We're so famous that the Pittsburgh Steelers were like, hey, you guys, stop it.
So we have a new logo that's coming out, which is just our standard logo, but the hat just says 412 on it instead. I am in the process of getting that on tpublics.com. So that will be in the show notes below. So now that I got all that housekeeping out of the way, I have taken the broom, we have cleaned the house, and now we are here. We don't feel like cooking dinner anymore. We feel like eating some Big Mac.
Yep, we feel like eating some Big Mac. Just like our guy, Donald Gorski. You know who Donald Gorski is, Chris?
That's not the guy that invented the Big Mac.
No, that's the guy he's from Wisconsin, and he's eaten over 35,000 Big Macs in his life starting on May 17th, 1972.
And he keeps all of the cartons. All the
receipts.
Yeah, he keeps all the clamshell cards and all the receipts and everything. But has he ever visited the Big Mac Museum?
I could not find anything on that. If he did, that'd be awesome. I don't know if he did though.
Yeah, because the real inventor of it was Jim Delegati. He was the guy that invented the Big Mac. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, you're right. I'm really happy you said that because I didn't know how to pronounce his name. So thank you.
Hey, if you say enough things with confidence, it doesn't matter.
That's right. Like dogs can't look up.
Okay, anywho, let me ask this before we get into the history of everything, because you mentioned the guy that had all those Big Macs. When is the last time you've actually had a Big Mac?
It has to be at least 1.5 to 2 years since I've had one.
I would say about the same thing for me. Probably about like 6 months or so, because luckily the Pittsburgh Penguins, every time they get a Big Mac attack goal, I don't know if they do that anymore because I felt like it used to happen so rare, But during hockey season, I would just open my phone. I'm like, oh, I guess I got another Big Mac attack. So I get a free Big Mac with a purchase of like, the smallest cup of soda I can get. So it's like $1.69. But it's been about a year. But do let's start with this. Do you like the Big Mac?
Personally, I do. I like it with the bun and all, and I also like it without the bun with extra lettuce as like a Big Mac salad. So I like both kinds. The dressing itself is really, really good. I Do you put ketchup on yours?
No, I just kind of eat it as it is.
I think it's just because I like ketchup on my burgers. I always put ketchup on it too, and it seems to work pretty well for me.
Yeah, and I think I have to be feeling it. And I'll get into the story about me starting to feel the vibes of that McDonald's Big Mac museum during a dinner rush. But I was planning to eat a Big Mac yesterday because I got the idea and I was just like, all right, I should eat a Big Mac and I should experience it. And I just couldn't do it. My body was just like, you've been eating so healthy. Like, I've been cooking ground beef, ground turkey, and cooking chicken that, like, if I eat something that's processed, it will screw up my whole flow of my stomach. So I ended up getting a snack wrap instead, a spicy snack wrap, and that was pretty good.
I've always said this. I always thought McDonald's breakfast was better than their lunch and dinner. I'm always a sucker for their little breakfast burritos because it's got a lot of protein. It's also high in fat, but it's got a lot of protein in it.
What?
But
This is
I
news.
go figure. I've never actually had a McDonald's snack wrap, but I hear they're really good.
Here's what you do. You take a chicken finger and you just put a tortilla and some lettuce around it with a sauce. That's it. I make snack wraps at home all the time.
They're charging $2.99 for that.
My coupon made it $2, so excuse you.
Oh my god. No, that's wow, okay. But yeah, that's personally I like the breakfast better. Like I won't do it every day. Maybe once every 2 weeks or something I'll stop and get something, but like um what about you? What about you?
How much do you use the app? Or do you use the app a lot?
I do just because of the points.
Do you also do it so you could get $2 daily breakfast sandwiches? Do you know about that?
I do, and I typically don't do that because I just go for my little $1.50 burrito. I get one of those and I'm good for breakfast.
Okay. So I will first describe what the vibe is like at the Big Mac Museum. For people who don't know about the Big Mac Museum, JJ, give us a little bit of a backstory about it and the history of when it was built and everything like that.
Yeah, so it's located obviously in North Huntingdon, Irwin, off of Route 30. It's actually right off the turnpike, so you can't miss it. It's right next to like a Bob Evans and Eaton Park. I don't have much history on the store itself, but I do have like information about the museum, like just some information from like roadsideamerica.com and discovertheburgh.com. So if you want me to go into that, I totally can.
Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
All right, perfect. So, Big Mac was created, as Chris said, 1967 by Jim Delegati. Don't matter. It's usually accepted that the Big Mac was created at a Ross Township store off of McKnight Road, but the Big Mac itself was not sold. Um, it was sold first in Uniontown. So the guy had a bunch of different chain like franchise restaurants. So Uniontown, Pennsylvania is where it was first served. The world's favorite Monster Burger was born about 40 miles south of here in Uniontown when franchisee Michael Delgatti introduced it as a menu item in August 1967. Delgatti's family now owns 18 McDonald's, and they decided to open their museum on the Big Mac's 40th anniversary in North Huntingdon rather than at the birthplace in Uniontown because this store gets more traffic. There's no need to make any more of a pilgrimage than necessary, according to roadsideamerica.com.
Nice. Okay. And as soon as you said franchise, I just thought of the founder right away, where another Pittsburgh person, Michael Keaton, where he's just like franchise, 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 franchise.
I like that. I like the scene where he's like, they give him the burger and he's like, What's this? They're like, that's your food. He's like, what do you mean? It's so good. Uh, but the exhibit itself takes a chronological look at the milestones of the sandwich from its unveiling in 1967 to roll out of its famous jingle in 1974, which Chris mentioned. When Pittsburgh declared McDonald's Appreciation Day in 1992, celebrating the 35th anniversary of McDonald's in the region. Coincidentally, the 25th anniversary of the Big Mac 2, and more. So that's all included in the museum, according to discovertheburgh.com.
I'm going to say two things. One, I'm going to back it up real quick. I don't know what the jingle is. I just remember that it was called the Big Mac rap, and it was a viral video of a guy going through the drive-through and just kind of like rapping it. And then all of a sudden, like the woman's like, can you repeat that order again? And he just raps the whole thing again.
Perhaps we are talking about two different things there, because there actually is a jingle for like an actual song for the Big Mac.
And number two, do you know when the building was built? Does it say that on there?
It just says it was built 40 years, so it had to be in 2007 was whenever the Big Mac Museum was opened. It's I feel like it's been sooner than that. Like I don't really remember when they actually built it, because that McDonald's has always been there. And maybe I just don't remember actually going inside of it and just hitting the drive-through or something. I don't know. What about you? Do you remember any of that?
I remember it's been there for a long time, and I remember when it used to be just a standard McDonald's. And for some reason, this is the home of the biggest Big Mac. And I was just like, the biggest Big Mac? How can they make a sandwich that big? And then you go into the play place area, which so good on for them for having a play place there. That's really good. I go to the play place, and it's this giant, cartoonish, plastic looking Big Mac burger on a giant plate. And for some reason back in 2007 or whatever, when I went there, I was like, that's not a real Big Mac.
Something's not right here.
Though how the food is processed, they probably could make the biggest Big Mac, and it probably could just sit there untouched, not moldy or anything for like years to come.
That's a really good point. Do you know how much the Big Mac cost when it first came out?
Oh, jeez. I think I read it on the thing because you said 1967. I'm gonna say it was in the cents. It was under $1. I'm gonna say 54 cents.
Really close. 45 cents.
Dang. Just gotta switch those numbers.
And I don't know. I don't know if when we were younger, like, okay, so when I was in high school, I had just graduated and I was like a month outside of high school. And I was getting ready to start at Bradford down in Pittsburgh. And I was like, okay, all my life, because I've always been a bigger guy, a bigger kid, I always had to like watch my weight for football and everything. I had always stopped myself from eating like the Wendy's Dave's single or the Burger King Whopper. Like I never actually ate any of the like foods that these fast food restaurants are famous for. I always got like grilled chicken or the salad or something like that. So that year I went to every fast food place like over that whole month, not just at one time. And I had a little bit of everything. So like, you know, KFC's chicken, Arby's, like their roast beef. I had like all the stuff that made these places famous. And McDonald's, I had my very first Big Mac. For some reason at that time, that thing looked as big as my head. And I don't I don't know if you remember back in those days, was it bigger? Is it smaller now, or is that just my imagination?
Listen, uh, I don't know. I really don't know. Will they tell us? I don't think they will. Uh, I'm gonna say it was smaller. It's smaller now because it seems like just a standard burger size, or else maybe it was our childlike imagination that it was just like this thing's the biggest thing ever. It could have been that. I don't know, JJ. I really don't.
I maybe that's it. Maybe I'll continue to imagine it as big, like larger than life, because of my very first one. And I've only had a couple since then, but each one's been really good.
Yeah. So you said 45 cents. Guess how much a
45.
Big Mac sandwich is now?
Ooh, with or without the coupon?
Did the Penguins score a goal? So I'm on the app right now. Location services are in the North Huntingdon area, so to the Big Mac Museum. This is just the sandwich, not the combo.
Okay.
Take a
Well,
guess.
I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Right. Sandwich itself, I'm assuming it's close to like $4.99.
Ooh, nope. It is $6.29.
God, that's so crazy.
Though a meal actually surprisingly is $8. And that I actually found a little bit surprising. That's not that bad.
Dude, you ready for this? I just pulled up ours for Wilmington. Uh, the Big Mac, the sandwich itself is $5.49, but the meal is $9.19.
What? Why are
Right?
prices different everywhere? That's dumb.
I have no idea.
I get Hawaii. They can't get the meats. But, real quick, another question since you are a health person. How many calories is in the Big Mac and how many calories are in the meal?
Oh man. I think the meal is like 1,190 depending on what size it is. So
That
if you
is
got like a
close. 1,150.
wow, I was just guessing. The Big Mac itself, I think it's like either 580 or 600 calories.
580. You got it.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm nutrition expert here.
That's a first of all, explaining to people, is that a lot of calorie intake for just a single sandwich?
I mean, so the deal with calories is like you can look at a calorie, something that's high in calories and be like, "Oh, that's unhealthy." But if it's like a salad that has a ton of like starchy veggies, like zucchini or something like that, and it has a ton of like calories, like you know what I mean, like how much fat's in it, how much protein's in it. That's what really makes up if a calorie's healthy or not. Let's be honest. Big Macs are pretty much carbs and fat, so it's not great. The nutrition density of a Big Mac, it's not great. If you do it without the bread, it's a little bit better.
Okay, and also when I got the Whopper, I got a Whopper compared to a Big Mac. I actually just had a Whopper recently. It had a lot of veggies on it, like lots
Hmm.
of lettuce, lots of onion, lots of tomato, pickles. Eh, I'm gonna say it. I thought it was way better than the Big Mac. It was delicious. But I'm like a veggie guy now. So is having more veggies on a burger, does that help at all with the health aspect or still like not really?
Yeah, absolutely. We always we tell our clients all the time that like if you do fast food, like try and put as many veggies as you can on it, even if it's like extra lettuce, extra tomato, anything counts. If you put extra or just put veggies in general on your sandwich. Now, Burger King is going through. I'm kind of a nerd when it comes to this kind of stuff. Burger King is going through a like their CEO has reinvented Burger King, and they're trying to make it like more like I don't know, they're trying to make it more relevant again. And with that, they're making the food bigger and better by adding more stuff like that by keeping the same price. So I've been really impressed with Burger King myself too.
Yeah, it was a delicious burger. It was probably about the same price as a Big Mac, and it was really good. But I'm still flapping my gums about Big Macs. I gotta get back. I gotta get back to the Big Mac Museum. Okay, uh, so my breakfast experience compared to my dinner experience, I feel like this is something that needs to be studied. I usually when I worked at my previous job at a mechanic shop, I would have a weekday off. And on my weekdays off, I'd take advantage of that $2 daily coupon of a breakfast sandwich. I'd go and I'd get, a McGriddle because I know how unhealthy it is, but it is it's the goat of breakfast sandwiches. There's nothing beating that. And I would go in there, like the crowd was older, like old people, it's their hangout. I'm telling you, there's like 6, 7, 8, like amount of like older people just kind of like all together. The people working are older and everything. And just like, oh, do you need me to take that for you, Jones? And like, it's all so nice. And Then I went in during dinner time.
Yeah.
And first thing I walk into is, so first of all, McDonald's, this McDonald's has been redone already. There used to be a counter where you can go and order food. Now there is a single counter and kiosks, because I feel like fast food places now are trying to train their customers, be like, hey, I think they just want them to like hold accountability. You know what I mean? Just like, I said no lettuce on this. Well, the receipt says, you know what I mean? But okay, I rest my case. But I walk in there during the dinner rush. There is a employee in the back screaming at someone on the phone in French. I don't know.
Okay. In Irwin?
In Irwin, yes. And I walk in and just there's kind of garbage like on the ground, and like garbage cans are a little bit full. And I went to grab my food. I did mobile takeout. And listen, don't go to fast food and order at the counter anymore. They don't want to talk to you. You don't want to talk to them. Just mobile order. So I go and I do the mobile order, and they have a mobile order section, and I'm going to get my food. And the person behind the counter, real young, like high schooler, she just goes, I'm sorry, give me 1 second. I have to put this sticker over top of the bag because it's the store policy if you're doing a takeout order. And I'm like, I didn't need to know all that, but okay.
What I mean, what if she just walked up and slapped a sticker on it and stared you right in the eye? Would you be like, what was that about?
And then the funniest part was there was a guy behind the only register there wearing a green neon jacket, because I think he did like run out to like the cars who want to do curbside. Curbside's dumb. Don't do curbside. I'm sorry. But like he was just behind the counter, hands above his head, just like that the whole time. And I'm just
Oh
like,
man.
this is a weird environment. So my recommendation is, if you are in McDonald's, I highly suggest going during breakfast time. And this is so dumb to say, but I'm going to say it. The vibes are higher when you're at McDonald's during breakfast time. Old people, this is why they get their senior coffee. The senior coffee's free.
I didn't know that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, go ahead.
No, that's all. The senior coffee is free, and I think they're able to get coffee, and they're able to get out. And in my current position now, I talk to people who, their husband's passed away or their wife has passed away or anything, and it's nice for them to get out and just kind of talk with other people who might have gone through the same situation. So I like breakfast time at McDonald's. It's nice.
Two things, just not a rebuttal, but just like a thought that I had while you were saying that. One, if you don't like breakfast at McDonald's and you prefer to have lunch or dinner there, definitely do the mobile order, just because it's weird, because that McDonald's in particular, I remember you and I as kids going with our parents to the counter to order. So like it's like a memory thing for me, at least. But I would say go early, like 11:30, 12 o'clock, like right before the lunch rush starts, so you can like kind of get your food and chill a little bit. Um, the second thing is, it's really crazy to think that back in the 90s and 2000s, people had diners. Older people had diners, and that's where they went to have their cigarettes, their coffee, and just chill out with their friends. And they don't have that anymore. There are no diners in Irwin, you know? So, like, now they have McDonald's. That's where they hang out at. But, like, if you watch, like, the Rick Seebeck documentaries of, like, the diners in Pennsylvania, it's just a bunch of older people hanging out, smoking cigarettes and chatting, you know?
Yeah, and even like with like my previous job, there was like this guy that worked there who would just go to the Sunoco gas station in Delmont and just hang out with the same three people every single morning from like 6 a.m. until he had to leave and go to work. I don't, I don't know. The older I get, the more I'm just like, you know what? That doesn't sound too bad.
Honestly though, like whenever you're married and you have a house and you are, or you live with your wife or significant other, it's hard to find time to spend time with friends. So if you have time like that to meet at the Sunoco and drink a Yoo-hoo and just kind of shoot the breeze, might as well do that before work so you have your whole afternoon open.
Yeah. And so I would, let's talk about mobile order. Let's talk about the different ways to order at that McDonald's also. They obviously have taken out. I'm not a picky eater. I don't care going to the kiosk machine and just clicking whatever and just being okay with it. I'm not a picky person. For people who don't want like lettuce or don't want whatever, they could customize that stuff. I think
Yeah.
the real th this is happening everywhere. I feel like the real demographic for a lot of places is older people, but places are starting to try and, like, go past older people. You know what I mean? They put these kiosks up, and these older people are just like, "I have a smartphone that I don't know how to use. Now I gotta use this thing that's a giant smartphone." And in the morning, there's nothing but older people for breakfast, and that's what they have to deal with. They're not
Hmm.
mobile
And you,
ordering, even though I love mobile ordering. It's my favorite thing, but
yeah,
they don't know how to do it.
you said it best. There's people behind the counter, but they're not taking orders. They're just standing around doing like not standing around. They're doing other stuff, but they've used these computers to replace people because I don't know, man. They want to spend money on computers rather than paying people to come do the job. So like, here's where we're at. We got people in the morning like, I don't know how to use this. Help me, and they're just like, you got this.
I want someone in the comments or something to please tell me. I need someone to tell me. Is there a policy now for those particular McDonald's, Burger King's, Taco Bell's where they tell like the employees just ignore the customer? Just keep doing what you're doing and just ignore them. I want to know if that's a real thing because that has 100% happened. I have once walked into like Taco Bell not realizing there were kiosks there because I was just used to going into Taco Bell and I went to the counter. And I waited at the counter for like a good 5 minutes until someone said, like, oh, there's a kiosk behind you. I'm like, why didn't anyone tell me this sooner?
Like, I don't need any lottery tickets. Thank you.
It's I don't know. I have a love-hate relationship with the kiosk. I personally don't mind it. I love technology. I love mobile order. I love just ordering my food and just drive in and it's right there. But not a lot of people can use it. And that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the old when I say old days, I mean 90s and early 2000s. I don't know what it was like before then, but, it's not like the days where you could just, like you had time to go and eat something, like, sit down, enjoy the meal, relax. Now, I don't know about you, but whenever I get stuff, breakfast or lunch, it's drive-through or something quick and bring it back to the place I work at and eat it in my car before I gotta clock back in.
Okay, thank you for saying that because I'm gonna say this about the Big Mac Museum also. And this is a hit or miss comment before I say this, but I'm gonna say this because it's mostly hit. The drive-through is not the way to go if you are trying to save time. I think the drive-through is kind of most and least prioritized at the same time. I I think the order of it is like mobile orders, uh, people in front of you, and then it's the drive-through. I don't know. Do you experience that at drive-throughs? Like, have you ever like you're so hungry and you're like, there's like two cars in front of me, and then all of a sudden it's 30 minutes later and you're pounding on the steering wheel like I just want my sandwich.
I think it's the way that it's processed. So whenever you place a mobile order at any restaurant on for drive-through, they don't start the order until you pull up and tell them what you want. Like, let me rephrase that. They don't start the order until you pull up and say, "Hey, I'm number ON551," and then they're like, "Oh, Chris, okay, go ahead and pull around," and then they start your order. Where with mobile order, you're coming to pick it up, so you're expecting to walk in and have it done sitting there on the counter. So it makes sense that it would be done quicker if you do mobile order.
Also, let this message be out to McDonald's corporate. Whenever you put a mobile order in, can it just be a name? Like, can it just not be random numbers and letters thrown together? Just
Two four
because,
six zero six seven.
yeah, right? like, like I walk into Wendy's.
All good. All good.
Okay,
Had to stretch my legs.
like I walk into Wendy's and they're just like, "This is for Chris." I walk into Arby's. This is for Chris. I walk into McDonald's is like order 6764. It's like what?
Order 41269.
So someone needs to fix that mobile order thing. Just make it a name. You don't need to make it a number.
Yeah, we have a name. Like, I don't know. I'm a believer that, like, I feel like we are becoming a little bit really too dependent on technology to the point where we are like losing our names and we are becoming just numbers in this like crazy world. So I agree with that. Something small like McDonald's just calling our name right. Sure, I could get down with that.
Wow, that was deep. I did not expect that.
Hey man, I bring it. I bring it during these episodes.
Yeah, and I do want to keep talking about like the Big Mac Museum and everything. So the memorabilia that is in there, I did take a couple notes during my very strange dinner rush experience. Um, there are TVs that are in there that do play like old advertisements on there. And McDonald's is the reason why people love McDonald's is because they are so known for their marketing. You know, Ronald McDonald, McDonald's Playland. There's been some like, VHS tapes, some video games. If you guys want a good example, listen to the Podcast to Ride. They just had a whole series called McMonth, where in the month of September, they just talked about the different IPs of McDonald's. It's a fantastic series to listen to. So I would highly suggest listening to that. What else do I have? I have woman yelling in French who works there, which was weird. The
Was
play,
that on display?
yeah, they do have like a little mini shoulder statue of basically Jim Delegati, just like holding like the Big Mac. So they do have that in there, which is really nice. Um, the reason why I knew about the 1967 is because there is a huge timeline thing that you could kind of read all the way down about the history of the Big Mac. Who would have thought, right? Like all that history. I think one of my favorite things that I saw in there was a character that McDonald's invented to bring more people in during the late night scene. His name was Mac Tonight. He had his head was in the shape of a moon crescent, and
Ooh,
his face was on it.
I just watched a movie called Night Watch or Night Prowlers or something. Night Oh my god, I can't think of it. But there was a character that had like that same face, and I was like, why do I know that face? I've never seen this movie before. That is exactly where it's from.
And that is what you know it from. And during the old advertisements on the TV, I didn't have a chance. Like usually when I eat breakfast, I sit there when there's not a woman yelling in French. But like I would usually just sit there and just kind of like watch the TV. There was a giant surfboard in there that had McDonald's on it. There's Mc- Big Mac hats, which I thought were really cool. So it was just like, the hat that looked like it was a Big Mac, a race car outfit, which I thought it was pretty cool because before we started recording, you mentioned something about race cars. And I was like, yeah, that's like what in the McDonald's museum. And they showed like the old, like, toasters that like the bread would go through and everything. And like an old thing that like, the burgers would be made on. I would say if you're one of those weird like history buffs, like you want to go to Idaho to visit the Potato Museum, like this is the kind of like museum that you should go to and just check out because it does
Road
a lot of stuff in there. That's cool.
Roadside attraction.
That's it. And what were you saying about race cars before we started recording?
Oh yeah, just something cool that's coming up on Sunday. IndyCar is going to be racing through the streets of Washington D.C. around like the Air and Space Museum and around the National Archives and around the Capitol building. So if you are into uh, our history and you're into race cars and IndyCar, check that out on Sunday.
Does it drive past the new United States National Monument of a permanent UFC cage?
Those aren't real words. You made that up.
Listen, he said the UFC cage is probably going to be a monument. Whatever. But
Did he really? That's funny. I actually have it saved on my on my Fox One to watch that because I'm just like, I mean, when are we ever going to see this again? You know?
I know, right? This is America 250, man. They're just spitballing, and they're taking the spitballs and saying, you know what, that doesn't sound like a bad idea.
As an IndyCar fan, I'm here for it.
um, I'm trying to think if there was anything else about the Big Mac Museum that I kind of noticed. I mean, it's just your standard restaurant, but it just has a little bit more to it. Like I said, it was already redone. I personally have a nostalgia effect for how it was previously. I think it's a little too modern now, but that's just a personal opinion. I don't remember by memory what the old one was like, but I just remember I liked it. That's all.
I mean, it was your quintessential McDonald's. Like you had your counter where you ordered, the big open area where you waited, and then there was always that display on the side with the toys that came with the stuff, the kids' meals. Anyway, but yeah, it was your quintessential old school McDonald's. And you're right, I haven't been there in about probably like 3 years, but last time I was there, it was very modern.
Yeah. And I suggest anyone who's like kind of going around, you know, check it out. It's not a bad place to visit. Just, you know, say hi to your yelling French woman, you know?
Oh my god. Okay, do you know what Big Mac was almost called? What they tried to call it when it first came out?
Monster sandwich?
No. The Aristocrat or the Blue Ribbon Burger. So in case you didn't know, it was almost called one of those two things.
Well, that's interesting. Since I got no more facts, what else you got?
So it was the person who actually named it the Big Mac was an advertising secretary named Esther Glickstein Rose who proposed the name Big Mac. So our guy Michael created the sandwich. She named the sandwich. Something I found cool that Mr. Delgatti, he never actually received royalties from the burger. He just noted that he loved running his local restaurants and he was just proud to have it under his name.
We're going to answer this real quick because I thought I heard you say this. I keep saying Jim Delgatti, but you keep saying Michael Delgatti.
Oh, no, you're right. It is Jim Delgatti. I'm sorry.
We're going to solve this because there was something on the little plaque that I saw that had his initials on there. The initials might have been BM. I don't know.
You know what? Yeah. I don't know. Did I write it down wrong? Because I do have Jim and I have Michael, so I don't know which one is correct.
It is Jim. I'm looking on the most useful site right now, Wikipedia. And as of 2016, McDonald's sells about 550 million Big Macs in the US every year. And let's talk about this real quick. Delgatti was married twice, with his first marriage to Anne Venura ending in divorce. They had one son. He and his second wife, Eleanor Ellie Carmody, had one son, 5 grandchildren, and 8 great-grandchildren. He died on November 28th, 2016. Not exactly, but 10 years ago, JJ, at his home in Fox Chapel, Pennsylvania at age 98.
He would be in Fox Chapel. I just realized that when I wrote down the notes from Roadside America, they were the ones that had Michael instead of Jim. So it should be Jim.
Well, let's find out who Michael Delgatti is.
Yeah. What happened to Mr. Puff?
Michael Delgatti. No, it says Jim. I typed in Michael and it popped up Jim. So I think Michael Delgatti, son of the Big Mac creator. So that makes sense. That's his son's name.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense then because Michael probably took over.
Yeah. Now we're going to look up Jim Delgatti's cause of death.
Well, you know, the creators of... Yeah.
Oh, I mean, good for him. I didn't mean to say aw, but he passed away peacefully.
Not Brewster's. What's the Ben and Jerry's? Both the guys from Ben and Jerry passed away from like heart issues and diabetes and stuff. So like it's man, I don't know. I feel like if you get high on your own supply, that's not a good thing. So good for Jim for going on his own terms.
Hmm, that's right. What a man. Anything else that you got?
Not going on his own terms. I'm sorry. Guys, I didn't need a lot of sleep last night. My voice is pretty hoarse. I appreciate you dealing with me today.
What? You just said you went out. Never mind. We'll move on.
We're correcting things as we go here. So please, if you've been listening this long, I appreciate you. I actually have a question for you, Chris. So this is not related to the Big Mac. I am just morbidly curious on what your opinions are on McDonald's McRib.
I don't have an opinion. I maybe had it maybe one time in my life. It never affected my life. I think they finally discontinued it. I don't care for it. All I know is, ironically, our father, who has heart problems, loves the McRib.
I think that has to be where I love the McRib, and it comes back once every like 6 or 7 months. And every time it comes back, I don't care if it's like $10 for the sandwich. I'm getting the sandwich. Like it's so stupidly good, but it's terrible. It is so high in fat, cholesterol, like trans fats. It's so terrible for you, but I'm a sucker for it. And I think Dad did that to me.
Well, if you want to talk about something real quick, I have a sweet tooth, and I really like the McFlurry when it comes out. Not McFlurry, you know what I mean. What the hell is it called? The Shamrock Shake. I love the Shamrock Shake when it comes out.
The only time the ice cream machine works.
Yes, the only time. It just I don't know, it's just a minty flavor, it is delicious, and here's another problem I have with McDonald's. They went through a weird phase where they were trying to get away from aiming towards children, and they claim they opened kinda like a cafe, like, kinda place where they had different kinds of coffees. Bruh, now that there's so many independent coffee places, McDonald's is so low on the list. It's below the ground. It is shot through the ground, and it's in China right now. Like they do not have good coffee. I'll say it. I'll say it. They do not have good coffee, and it's mid at best.
I'm gonna retort two things actually. One, I can't. When I think mint, I think my toothpaste. So I cannot do the Shamrock Shake. I take one sip and I'm like, oh, am I brushing my teeth right now? It's a personal thing. It's weird because I know like my wife likes the chocolate chips in the mint ice cream. You like the Shamrock Shake. I'm sure there's like 1,000 people I'm sure there's 1,000 people listening right now to our podcast that like that like that shake. I can't do it.
So you don't like peppermint patties?
I do like dark chocolate though. So that's the issue. Like, oh man, I do like a good Andes mint where it's like the dark chocolate on top or the peppermint patty. But I don't know why. I like that, but I don't like the Shamrock.
Yeah. All right. Well, then let's kind of end with this. Let's kind of pick our favorite menu item on the McDonald's menu, and then we'll just kind of end it there. So let's say you are starving and you need to eat something at McDonald's, and you could go back to McDonald's anytime in your life and order this. What are you ordering?
Do I have unlimited cash or am I like, oh man, I got $5. What am I gonna make? What am I gonna do?
Well, that's a good question. Let's say you want to get enough food that fills you. That's all. Like no budget, just enough to fill you.
So if I was a broke boy, I typically would do two McChickens, like the $1.50 McChickens. However, if I was like, I'm gonna get the full like drink and the French fries and the meal, if it's there, definitely the McRib. But if not, I'd probably go with the quarter pounder.
I've never got the quarter pounder before, and I'll also say this: my meal that I would go for is the 2 cheeseburger meal, which they don't have anymore. Uh, Basically is just like the 2 like regular cheeseburgers, like value or whatever. You get your French fries and you get your drink and everything. High C with a little bit of Sprite in it. I learned that way back in the days when I worked for Wendy's. And it would just be so good. I would eat the first burger and just be like, that was so good. I wish I had another. Oh, I would just eat the other one. And it was like $5 at the time. So if anyone remembers that two cheeseburger deal, like that, it was so good.
Do you remember the thing? It's a like like the people who go there made it. It's not a thing that's sold at McDonald's, but have you ever heard of the McGangbang?
It's got to be like burgers and chicken combined, I imagine.
That's all it is. They call it that disgusting name for some reason, but it is a like McChicken and a single burger, and you just combine them and eat the whole thing at one time. And that was when I worked for Home Depot. People used to get that all the time.
That's disgusting. Don't eat where you shit or shit where you eat.
And don't eat something called a McCangbang. Oh God. That's my story. Okay.
Shoot, but yeah. So as everybody can tell, JJ, he needs to get his sleep. So we're gonna end this episode right here. No new episode next week. This boy's going on vacation again, so I'm gonna have a good old time.
Vacation.
Yeah, vacation. It's camping, but I get a whole week off from work, so I don't care. That's what really matters. But any other closing arguments?
Oh shoot, I had another point and I lost it. So thank you for listening. We are very grateful for our listeners, and if you are listening to this episode, watch Super Size Me, because it's just a disgusting good time, and go get yourself a Big Mac.
That's right. And I've been Chris.
I've been Jade.
And we'll see Yins real soon.